And welcome to the Davenport Coaches Show, coming to you live from Uccello's in Caledonia on a Tuesday night, wherever you're watching. And thanks for joining us here to talk Davenport football. Head coach Sparky McEwen is here. I'm Rick Berkey. Got a special player guest coming for you today. We had an outstanding game on Saturday night. Let's reflect right away. First, in our first segment, Coach, we'll talk about Saturday's game at Grand Valley. I don't know that the game could have started any better for you. You took the opening kickoff, marched it down 80 yards. Kayden Collins zips around the left end for a touchdown, and you're up 7-0.
It's the kind of start you want, and especially in an environment like that where, the big crowd, it was good for our men to be able to play in front of an atmosphere like that and to take that opening kickoff down and that drive and score it. It was awesome. It was awesome, and the hopes was that, it was going to happen the entire game, but we understand that they'll get their feet settled and, kind of settle in there and figure out some things that we're doing, and we know it's going to end up being a tough defensive battle from that point going
to
forward.
Their credit, they zipped right down and scored through the air and almost had a pass. One of the passes was almost intercepted, but they tied it up real quickly.
Yeah, we, unfortunately gave them a short field. We were trying to actually execute a sky kick, something there short because we're kicking into the wind. So we mishit it, and you can't give a team like that a short field because – it just gives them an opportunity to go down and do what they did. And we felt like that, there was a call that could have, gone either way, down there on the pass, and unfortunately didn't go our way.
They came back, though, and scored 3 unanswered touchdowns, and it looked like they were starting to pull away, but then you had a massive play when Dwan Mathis hit Ernest Sanders, who made a great breakaway from the tackle at about the 45-yard line, and zipped all the way down the sideline for a 75-yard score.
Those two, they've been doing that every day in practice. And it's it's one of those routes where, we're able to make some adjustments depending on the coverage. And DeJuan threw a perfect ball, and both of those guys executed it perfectly. And he raced it end zone. And that was a big play at that time because it got us within a strike before halftime. So we felt like we could go in that ball game, and if we didn't make mistakes, that it could be one of those games that could come down to the wire. But, Rick, we just made far too many mistakes.
It was apparent very early on that Grand Valley was determined to try to limit as much as possible the effect of Cephas Harris.
Correct. And, to Cephas's credit, he's done a tremendous job. But, to the credit of, the Panthers, we have some other threats as well. And we were able to shake loose Kayden. He did a tremendous job for us, hitting the ball on the perimeter. And Cephas was still pretty solid between the tackles. He made it tough, on him there. And we couldn't get the passing game going as much as we would have liked. We felt like there was a little too much pressure, leakage in different places. But for the most part, I felt like our offensive line, it was played pretty physical. I was looking forward to seeing if we could match the, the power of the D-line that they have. They have a very powerful D-line, and I thought our guys did, a pretty good job. But, consistency is the name of the game when it comes to GLIAC football.
You mentioned Kayden Collins. He will be our special guest and join us. Thought this was kind of an emergence of him coming out in this game.
Yeah, from game one, you can see that, he's got some juice. He's a guy that, both of those guys in the backfield, they're different styles of runner. But one thing about both of them, they're both tough. They dish out, punishment when they run, and they're able to run by you, through you. So, and both of them actually do a great job in the passing game as well. So, it's one of those deals, Rick, where when you watch us and you've had a bird's eye view of it, man, we're showing talent in spurts. We're showing the ability to be consistent. We just got to put it together for 4 quarters.
Back to Kayden, and now if he continues this type of play, that will prevent teams from ganging up on Cephas as they hit it, right?
That is correct. And then don't forget about the other 3 or 4 young men at the receiver position and a tight end. We still are trying to, shake Clint, loose as well. We really feel like we have some talent, on our football roster, and we've just got to be more consistent.
You mentioned the tight end, Spark. What is the key offensively to getting a tight end involved in general terms? What's the key to that?
Well, number one, if he's the guy that can block, your hopes for any coach is that you have a tight end that's, athletic. And we happen to have one that's pretty athletic in Walker. And so next thing you know, if you're able to have some success in the run game, you're able to shake them free with the play action and sneak them out into the flats or up the seams. And we have all those things in our package, so we're hoping that we continue, to strive to get better. And so this offense can hit on all cylinders.
Had trouble getting the offense going in the second half, but a big part of that was you had terrible field position for much of the second half.
We did. You have to give credit to them too as well. This is one of the things that we talk about, as a team, is that you just can't make those types of mistakes, that's going to put you behind the chains. When you do that, you can't, allow a team like, Grand Valley's, stature to just pin their ears back and get after your passer, because they're gonna make it tough on you, and that seemed to be a problem there in the second half. And for the most part, I felt like we were doing a solid job up front, but we began to get to the point where we're starting to become one-dimensional, and you can't do that against a ball club like that.
D'Angelo Bellamy had a big game for you defensively with 9 total tackles and 5 of them solo. He was all over the place.
Yes, he's one that's been emerging. The thing about him, as you can see, he's a big man, and he can run. He can really run, and then on top of that, wow, he's a force when he comes downhill and makes the hits that he makes. So proud of him. That he's finally settled in. He's gotten better, and that's one of the things we talk to our guys about, is stacking days and getting better each day, and we seem to be doing that.
What did you tell the guys immediately after the game Saturday?
It was a tough loss for us. We know we're going in halftime down 7, and we're making all those mistakes that we're making. And I just said, guys, we got to grow up at some point. We gotta get more mature in these big time atmosphere games, and understand that you got to play 4 quarters. You got to play 4 quarters in order to bring home the win, especially in environments like that.
Who else stood out for you? You've had a chance to look at the tape, maybe that we didn't maybe notice from the press box. Who played well for you?
Well, we thought up front, on the offensive line, we showed a little more physicality, that we've been looking for.
Especially that opening drive, they were knocking guys off the ball.
Yeah, so they've shown us what we thought we had there, but they got to be a little more consistent, when it comes to that. And for the most part, that was one of the things that we were looking for going into that game. I really felt like on the D-line, that, we got pushed around a little more than what I wanted to see. Okay, and I understand that, their head coach challenged their team to, be able to run the ball more, in which they did. So we know we've got to get better up front. Our guys know it. We talked, and it's not going to get any easier with this next week's opponent.
And we will talk about this next week's opponent, which is finally the home opener. Boy, it seems like the season's half gone. You've not had a home game yet. Michigan Tech comes down from the UP Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock, homecoming at Davenport, literally homecoming, their first home game of the year. We will talk about the Michigan Tech game in our final segment, Coach. Thanks for stopping by. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with our special player guest, Kayden Collins, who had a terrific game Saturday at Grand Valley. Stay with us on the Davenport Coaches Show from Uccello's in Caledonia. Empty backfield now for Dwan Mathis out of Romulus, Michigan. Jet sweep to Kayden Collins, running wide to the 10, to the 5, to the 2, to the 1. Touchdown, Davenport! Kayden Collins takes it in for his first Panther touchdown of the season, and DU draws first blood. And that was one of the highlights of Saturday's game at Grand Valley State. Kayden Collins scoring his first touchdown as a Panther, and it put DU on top 7-0 in that first half. Kayden joins us now, a junior from Canoga Park, California, by way of San Jose State University. You're a long way from home. I venture to say you're the farthest from home of anybody on the team. Is that correct?
It's pretty safe to say, but we do have a few players from California.
You do. Tell us a little bit about how you became familiar with Davenport when you first heard about it, and how the recruiting process eventually got you here.
So I spent my first 3 years at San Jose, and then eventually found my way through the way of the transfer portal. And they were lightly recruiting me out of high school. But, you know, a bigger school had thrown an offer. I took that, and a few things had happened to where it led me to go to the transfer portal. God willing, you know, we reconnected and stuff like that, and I was re-given an opportunity to play here.
Were you able to visit before you came here?
No, sir. No, sir.
So that took a bit of trust on your part to go to a school that you've never physically been to before. How did you handle that?
Well, I mean, I didn't necessarily take it as anything to be worried about. I feel like I owe my respect to Sparky for taking a chance on me, because he never had met me previous to me signing or anything like that. He was more so just taking a chance on me.
You're primarily a special teams player at San Jose State. What did you take from there, and how has what your experience there helped you now at Davenport?
Just a relentless effort. They taught me how to play fast, play physical. You know what I'm saying? Coming from there, I seen the best talent out of California. I got to play against the San Jose defense, you know, every day, just being on a scout team, stuff like that, just working my way up the depth chart. And just what I took from it from here, just coming here, is just that mentality of, you know what I'm saying, just be a dog. And that's, you know, what Sparky respects of me.
You had an outstanding high school career at Canoga Park, one of the top runners in the entire state of California. And you were an MVP in 2021 under head coach David Perez. Tell us how Coach Perez helped you become a college athlete, both as a player and maybe as a person too.
He was a little bit more of like a kind of a father figure in a sense, but more so in the fact that, like, when we came to school, we were his kids. You know what I'm saying? He cared for us more than just what we could do for him on the field and stuff like that. Like, he was also a therapist, you know what I'm saying? So he would come and talk to us about, like, our mental problems. Like, we were able to, you know, reside in him and something deeper than just a coach.
How big a school is Canoga Park compared to other schools? Is it a big school, small school?
It's not very known, if I'm being honest.
It's not what?
It's not very widely known, if I'm being honest.
Okay. But it's not known. Let's be very honest with it as well. Do you still stay in contact with any high school buddies back home?
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
Tell us about your family back home. Who's back there?
It's my mother, 2 older brothers, and 2 younger brothers, Kyrie, Khalil, and Keon.
They're not able to get out here to see you play in person, but
they will be.
They will be. They're coming out. When are they coming out?
I think so. I think this week.
Oh, fantastic! Great chance to see it. Speaking of being this week, you guys finally get to play a home game. What's that been like playing on the road for a month straight?
We just embrace it, man. We love it. I mean, we go on the road, get to spend time with each other on the bus. Like, it's hard, it's grueling, you know what I'm saying? But we get to learn a lot about each other and ourselves through being on the road. So I feel like it really just brings a lot of character out in us, just really emphasizing that spot the ball mentality.
You're even in just your first year here, you're a junior upperclassman still. What do you think you can show, not only with your experience, especially as at a Division I school, San Jose State, what can you show the younger players, the freshmen, how to carry themselves on and off the field?
I mean, every day, like, when they come in, I just tell them, just express to them, just get here early, you know what I'm saying? Get in the training room, even if their body doesn't hurt, you know what I'm saying? Just give their all on scout team, because it really does matter. And, you know, every day we're dependent on them to give us their A game, you know what I'm saying? It makes us sharp. We need them just like they need us. So, I mean, we're really just in this together.
Well said. You're majoring in kinesiology. What would you like to do with that degree when your college days are done?
Ultimately, make my own business in the sports therapy business. and really just have my way.
Have your own business. You want to go back to California and do that?
Wherever it really takes me, to be honest. I mean, I don't really have like a set plan for that, but when I do graduate, I feel like it'll just be wherever the wind takes me.
You're a Seattle Seahawks fan. Where did that come from? How did that happen to be?
I mean, growing up, like, I mean, who didn't love Marshawn Lynch?
Yeah, I know.
Who didn't love LOB? You know what I'm saying? So it was really just a personality thing. Like, Richard Sherman was one of the best trash-talking corners ever. So it was really just easy to cling to him.
Kayden, I want you to tell me, kind of be objective about your own game right now. Again, you had your best game as a Panther in emergence. Give me one thing that you think you do really well, and give me one thing that you know you have to get better at.
Well, I'll give you two things that I have to get better at. I mean, it's really just my effort on the field. I feel like it's not good enough. You know what I'm saying? I hold myself to a really high standard. When I say my effort, I mean like my energy, and when it's hard, because I know my teammates need it. You know what I'm saying? Being that leader, more so just talking and being more vocal. I feel like that's one of the biggest things that, you know what I'm saying, I've been wanting to be seen as on this team is a leader, but I'm more lead by example and not by speech.
Tell us what you do well, though.
What I do well, I feel like I do everything well, but you know what I'm saying. Obviously,
where do you want to get better? What one area? You mentioned your leadership in that, but from a technique standpoint.
From a technique standpoint, I'll really say that leading my guys, and really just, I mean, just being more calm when the pressure's high.
And that will happen as well. All right. So what do you do for your own pleasure when you're not playing football, when you're not going to school? How do you relax? What do you do on your own time?
Really just spend time around my guys. Like, that's really what brings me the most joy out of all this. You know what I'm saying? Being together with the team.
Who are your roommates, and what do you guys do when you're hanging out?
I stay with some of the students at campus.
Okay.
So I don't really stay with.
Not with other players?
No, sir.
Well,
but I do be around them during the weekends when we do have our time off.
Yeah. Well, that's nice to mix with non-athletes also, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
That's a great gives both of you a really good perspective on that. All right, well, let's talk about what they're emphasizing right now in the big game Saturday in the home opener against Michigan Tech. What are the coaches telling you guys have to really key on?
Well, it's really all about us. You know what I'm saying? We really just have to have our mindset of just being efficient. You know what I'm saying? We have to really just hone in on the fact that we're at home. You know what I'm saying? After a long stand, you know what I'm saying? And that we really have to be detailed. I know that there's been some things that have hurt us in the past, you know what I'm saying, not really being detail-oriented, but those are the things that we have to capitalize, you know, every day during practice. And, you know, with time, it'll come.
Kayden, great to have you here. You're a long way from home, but we're lucky to have you here in West Michigan, and hopefully have you a couple years now, because you're just a junior. We've got another year still to go, so keep that improvement. We look for big things from Kayden Collins.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It was a pleasure to have you.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back with Sparky, talk about this week's opponent, Michigan Tech, as you watch and listen to the Davenport Coaches Show live from Uccello's in Caledonia. And our final segment of the Davenport Coaches Show from Utelos in Caledonia. Head coach Sparky McEwen rejoins us right now after we enjoyed our visit with Kayden Collins, the junior running back on this team. We had such a big game Saturday against Grand Valley State. Coach, you got a heck of a team coming in. Michigan Tech having one of the best starts they've had in a long time. They are 4-1 with one narrow loss against Upper Iowa, a fine team there, but they are not only 4-1 overall, they're putting some points on the board. They put over 400 yards a game on offensively, led by a very talented quarterback and a very outstanding receiver.
It's a complete football team, offensively, defensively, special teams, and we have our hands full. Our guys understand that, the game is one up front, and their offensive line it's massive, strong, powerful, and on defense they do some things schematically that up front that could be confusing for the opponent's offensive line. So we're going to have our hands full, and then after that, they've got a very talented receiving core and a secondary, right now, as we've seen it, is going to be one of the better secondaries in the GLIAC. So they're doing some good things on both sides of the ball, and they've got a good running back, and they've got a good set of linebackers, and they're well coached, and it's always a great game when we play them. A lot of respect for both coaching staffs, and we know it's going to be another, tough outing.
Their quarterback, Alex Bueno, he's thrown for 12 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards already. He's also rushed for 257 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. What type of quarterback is he?
The one that gives us trouble.
Yeah.
He's very athletic. He's one that can throw it, and he can run it as well. He's shown some good poise, and he gets that thing going over there, and they found an offense that, fits, the style that they need to win, and that's what they're doing, and they've done a really good job. And, there's not one thing that you have to stop. You've already said, giving out the numbers, our guys, we just got to get better at being more consistent and getting guys to the ground and causing some more turnovers, because we know that, as you said, they score a lot of points, and then, the other way for us, we need to score more points. This is things that we've talked about, and the way you win football games, you got to stop people and you got to put points on the board, so hands are full, but, the guys know that we're back from the GV game and the disappointment there, and now it's on to the next GLIAC opponent.
What offensively, what's the focus to help? What are the keys to getting that the point production raised up offensively?
Well, we've got to take advantage of our opportunities. When there's turnovers, you need to score the ball. Okay, when the defense gets a stop, we've got to get points out of it. We've got the biggest thing for us in that locker room right now we're talking about is consistency. That's the one word that we keep talking about. And, Rick, it's on both sides of the ball. You've been in every game, and you see exactly what's going on. And, we've exemplified that. We've got really good talent. We've got speed. We've got strength. But we got to focus. We've got to stay locked in to details. The details is something that we talk about as well, and if we can do that, we could be a pretty tough, football team, and going against this opponent this week, we have to be. We don't have a choice, because they do everything well. They do everything well, and they're like us that the following year, both these teams are going to return a lot of players, and they just so happen to be, they're getting it going, and they have a little more consistency on what we do right now.
What kind of game do you expect Saturday? Do you expect a high-scoring game? Do you think it'll be more of a low-scoring? What are you looking for? What kind of game?
It's hard to say.
It is.
And especially with us, because just as soon as you think that, we're going to stick around that 24-point average, and that's when we open up and, we score a few more touchdowns, whether it's by special teams or defense getting a score, and then all of a sudden you're scoring points. I feel like, offensively, what they do, we're going to have to be prepared to score some points, and that's going to be hard against a defense that is one of the top defenses in, the GLIAC, So our boys are up for the challenge, game plan, we're still working on it. We feel like that, we just got to find better ways to get, our guys in position to put up more points.
What does it mean to the guys to finally be home this week?
Oh, man. I've never been part of something like this where here it is. It's going to be practically mid-October.
Yeah.
We're playing our first home game, and it feels good. It feels good, and that's why it's important to have a good showing here, at home, because we've been on the road, and we've been, that whole thing with traveling 2,800 miles, it gets old, so we're home now, and we get to focus, on our big-time GLIAC opponent, sleep in our own beds, and it's been a long time coming, so we're excited about it.
Well, it should be perfect football weather, mid to upper 60s, and right now, mid to upper 60s and sunny. Should be absolutely perfect. So get on out there and cheer on the Panthers this Saturday, 2 o'clock against Michigan Tech in a big GLIAC Saturday afternoon matchup. That'll wrap up our special edition of the Davenport Coaches Show from Uccellos in Caledonia. Thanks to our special guest, running back Kayden Collins, for his fine job joining us tonight. So for Coach Sparky McEwen, I'm Rick Berkey saying thanks for tuning in. We'll be back here next week again, and go Panthers.